the book you wrote, Blockchain Chicken Farm. Where where's that where's the book kind of like based on what? Because it's about like technology in parts of like rural China, and it's like the kind of the, I guess, like the dissonance in our thought of like how like backwards rural people would be, and can you tell me a little bit about like the book and your experience like writing it?
Yeah. So yeah, it takes place in rural China. And I think for me, it was this like weird process of like, the book actually started off with me wanting to like make a recipe zine, specifically around vinegar. And as you know, like all the different vinegars that are available in China.
I was super confused the first time I saw like the brown vinegar. I thought it was like, this is soy sauce, and I just poured it on this. Like, that's not right.
Oh, classic mistake. You can never tell, and then it's like too late.
Yeah, I learned to trust my nose a little bit more for things.
Yeah. Sometimes they label them too.
Yeah, but I can't fucking read Chinese.
But yeah, it was a long process. I think it was also just like a really lovely chance to go to rural areas throughout China and spend a lot of time there. Yeah, it's, I don't know, I still...
So again, what place is it focused on, or was it a lot of different places? Guizhou?
Yeah, Guizhou was a big place. Yeah, and then some places in the north, like Shandong, looking at everything from like e-commerce villages to this village making chickens that were on the blockchain. I've definitely, one thing I always have to caveat this with is like the book is like extremely leftist, which I think some people who are like interested in tech, they like read it and they're like, this is some socialist trash. I hate
this. It's China, get used to it.
But no, even just like my political position, you know, because I think they're like, oh, blockchain, you must be like a libertarian free market crypto person, and they get really excited and then they're disappointed when I'm not.
I think it's a big thing to me. To me, like, I'm not a libertarian. I'm very much also like leaning left, but I lean towards like a philosophy of selfish altruism, where doing things in my best interest means it is in my best interest and will benefit me the best if people around me are also taken care of, and they're also brought up, because like education goes up. We have less like shitty people outside. You know, we've got better quality roads, we got better food, we have like more people that we can like discuss things with. You have better competition, and also like kind of spurs you to be better.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very pragmatic and real stance to take. I wouldn't call that selfish. But...
I mean, I call it that because, you know, to a degree, I feel like being selfish is just part of human nature in a lot of ways.
Oh, interesting. And, why do you say that?
Because most people just kind of operate out of most people will either operate out of fear or out of like desire. So people fear being hungry, people fear death, people fear not having control of their lives. And so in like a lot of therapy, people are just trying to like overturn their tendencies towards some of their like more negative base reactions. And I think just the need to satisfy like your base needs, and that it just varies so radically different for everybody. It's just always that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling and I'm losing my own train of thought.
No, I mean, I guess how much of that do you think is like structural though, right? Is like we have, I mean, even under feudalism, but like especially capitalism, like been subjected to this like broader system in which we're like conditioned to think under scarcity, right? with like occasional pockets of like,
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, communes or like communities where they're like, actually, we're going to push against this scarcity.
I mean, I definitely recognize that there is very much also the human tendency towards like social function. People need other people. But at the same time, we are also always constantly obsessed with the idea of self and personal, like self-preservation. To a degree, everybody kind of sees themselves as the entire world, even though they also recognize that they're just one out of, even if they do or don't recognize that they're like one out of billions.
I mean, I guess that feels like also heightened under like American culture, right? The like rugged individualism thing, and just
Catch, bootstraps. Entire culture. You have to pay me for the bill.
Yeah, because it does feel like, I don't know, so much of it is also like this American culture too.
How did you research the different locations in your book?
Through like one side, which is like a lot of the kind of typical research process that I think folks do, which is just like stuff, like reading about stuff online.
Did you like live in the place, in any of the locations, or?
So I didn't live in any of those locations. I did like stay there for, you know, long periods of time. It was also through friends of friends. If they're, you know, a friend of a friend knows of this like organic rice cooperative in Guangzhou that I should go check out. So yeah, I mean, overall it felt, I think like everyone, it was like an interesting interaction process too, because a lot of the farmers were like, "You're from the US, wow." Why are you here? There's nothing to see here. And I'm like, no, this is really cool what you're doing. And they're like, you're kind of not that smart if that's what you think. I was like, okay, thanks, uncle.
I mean, I feel like we have that kind of, that sense of, like, you think our lives are small, and that really just shows how short-sighted you are. We do that in the States too. Like, people like who live in the country always have unique kind of insights, and you know, they hate also being looked down on or talked down to. Yeah, for sure. I think is I mean, it's been interesting, even just like doing book talks, which unfortunately have all been virtual, but like I get a lot of questions from people who are from mainland China. And, you know, there's all these like, as you know, there's all this like kind of, if you're a city person in China, there's all this talk of like nongmian, so like the peasant, and how they're like a little bit like, they're like less educated, like, you know, they really don't have manners. There's a lot of that social like hierarchy.
Yeah, and it's like, as someone who's not, you know, who's Chinese American, like I see that dynamic and can point it out, but then there's other people who are like, you know, Chinese, and they're like still in that kind of circuit of reasoning. You mentioned you have a sister.
When you would have been born, it was still one-child policy, right?
Yeah, she was born in the US.
Gotcha.
She's 6 years younger than me. Yeah,
it's a pretty, when they like loosened it, that was like a pretty big deal. But I remember in China, it was a very interesting point to see like every guy is trying to like find people to date. All of the girls like kind of have the pick of their litter.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, absolutely. You fucking deserve to be able to pick whoever the fuck you want and say no to whoever you want. Like, if for like generations, like women were like little baby girls were being like thrown out or sold. Like, now that you're an adult and you have like the right to do whatever you want, absolutely be as fucking critical and as like demanding as possible. They fucking deserve it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, I hear about how my parents met, and I'm just like.